You know, it's crazy. Every time I take one of these cars out, even if I'm just going to a gas station or, the store, you jump out of the car and people see you dressed like this, and naturally they want to assume that I either stole the car or I'm leasing it or it's my dad's or, whatever other stupid thing that people want to think. And, the reality is that we are very quick to judge. For example, you look at someone like me looking like this and telling you that you can retire, telling you that you can become a millionaire, telling you that you can do anything you want to do. Would it make it better if I was in a suit? Hey, that's better, right? No, that's not better. That's not better. Let me tell you why. We are stuck. You guys are stuck in a way of thinking rather than knowing. And it seems to be the biggest problem that we have with being able to move forward in life. We think that there's a specific way to do things. We think that someone dressed like me is some hotshot banker or attorney, possibly a doctor, some big corporate executive. We think that someone dressed like me deserves to drive one of these. Absolutely. If I got out of this car every day dressed like this, no one would bat an eye. Most people would probably still think that maybe I was a trust fund baby because I'm not 50, I don't have gray flowing hair. Again, it goes back to thought, it goes back to stereotyping, it goes back to judging. We have a huge problem in the world, and that problem is we don't know. We don't know anything. We're not taught the importance of knowing. We're not taught the importance of believing. And this is the biggest problem. We have external influences, we have society, we have news channels, we have teachers, educators, and all of these people are teaching us the concept of money instead of teaching us what really matters, and that is believing that you can do anything you want to do. The problem is if you think it sounds childish, if you think it sounds stupid, you're probably broke. And I'm not here to try and play almighty, and I'm not here to try and sound better than anybody. I'm here because I started at the very bottom, dreaming about these types of cars. Also, believing that I could earn these types of cars. So, here's the deal. A lot of people have been asking for me to do a video. Chris, what do you do? Doesn't matter what I do. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter what your neighbor does. What matters is this. There are basic principles and ideas and tips and keys to success. Okay? And anybody that has ever been successful has followed these types of things. A lot of times people say, well, I deserve the promotion because I've been here longer. I deserve it because I've put in the time. Time doesn't mean shit. Time doesn't mean that you deserve anything. You know what makes you deserving? Hard work, sacrifice, discipline, commitment, consistency. Just because you show up to work, that means you show up to work. If you've been there for 10 years thinking you deserve the raise, and someone else shows up 3 months ago, and they're there before you, they leave after you, they eat lunch in their office while they're working, and they're consistently building because they're passionate about the growth of the company that you work for, they're going to take your position, I promise you. They're going to take your advancement. They're going to take your bonus. They're going to take they're going to take everything because they deserve it. And you are not entitled to that because you've been there longer than the next person. It's not how it works. A lot of times people are very quick to say it's not about what you know, it's who you know. I think all of that is bullshit. I think it's about what you know. If you know that you can outwork your neighbor, your coworker, then you also know that you deserve that position, that advancement, that promotion. But you also need to know that if you're not willing to work for it, if you're going out with your friends if you're going out drinking, if you're having boys' night, girls' night, boat day, holiday, birthday, barbecue day, so's the rest of the world. There's nothing wrong with that. Except if you think you deserve more than the person that is giving those things up. Because if they're giving it up, they want it more than you. If you want it more than them, you need to work harder than them. That is the bare basic, simple concept of what I'm about to teach you. So, let's dive into how can I retire in the next 1, 2, 3, 5 years tops. What does it take? Okay, let's talk a little bit about passion. Have you ever wanted something so bad that it almost hurt, you really couldn't put it into feelings? You like it, for a car, for example. I'll use my own personal passion. I have wanted a Lamborghini since I was like 6 years old, okay? To the point where it was on posters on my wall in the 80s. As the models changed, the posters changed. Eventually, it started getting into, I would just draw Lamborghinis. I would go and look at them if I could at any car dealership that would even possibly have one. If I could listen to them on the, back in the day, it was like you had like a Walkman, right? So if you could listen to things, then all of a sudden there was movies that had them in them, and then all of a sudden we reached the internet era, and that was like this mecca of passion, because you could actually click on and look, you could search all over the world. You could see image after video after audio file. You could hear them and see them and listen to them. It was unbelievable. And the more I got into it, the more I felt it in my soul, the more I believed, the more I became passionate that one day, I would own my own Lamborghini. It became a passion that literally, maybe it became an obsession, and maybe that's what it needs to be. A lot of times along my road to success, people were like, dude, you are obsessed with work. Like, no one even wants to hang out with you. And at first I was kind of insulted by that. I'm like, why would you want to hang out with me? Like, I'm still me. But I wasn't. I wasn't still me. I was me on a mission. And I was obsessed with that mission. Because that mission is what was building my daughter's future. Okay, that became my purpose. All right, which is what I'm going to talk about in a second. But I was so passionate about it. I would dream about driving one. I knew what they sounded like now. I would picture myself shifting through the gears. I became obsessed. I became so passionate with it. And you have to have that type of passion with whatever you do, with whatever choice. It doesn't matter. We've already discussed this. The job is irrelevant. If you want to be the most passionate garbage man in the world, do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Because if you're that passionate about it, you are going to take it 10 times more serious. Not even 10. You will take it 500 times more serious than the guy next to you that's just there for a paycheck. And what will happen is that passion will lead to evolution. And that evolution will lead to you being in a supervisory or a managerial position. And when you get into that type of position, now you have a little bit of a voice, right? It's about what you know. Well, you've been there. You've passionately sorted through the trash. You figured out what works. You figured out what can make the company better, what can make the employees safer. Now all of a sudden you're up here and up here and up here. My point is, it doesn't matter. We all start here. We're all born. We all have to learn how to walk. We all have to learn how to talk. Some people can speak 3, 4, 5, 6 multiple languages. And we look at them like they're crazy because we're terrified to go and do something more than average. You have to have a passion. If you're not passionate about it, you will not do it better than everyone else. And you need to do it better than everyone else, or it's not going to happen. Okay, so we talked earlier a little bit about sacrifice. People go on boating trips, they go to barbecues, they go to birthday parties. Here's the deal, guys. At the end of the day, there's no right or wrong way, I guess, to be successful. There's just a matter of time, I suppose, that it takes to become successful. And that matter of time is really up to you, because this is a different timeline than waiting for something to happen, like at your job, for example, where you're waiting for that pay raise. This is a moment in time where you actually control what's happening on the day-to-day, okay? Things that are going to be sacrificed are going to be anything that literally will not get you a step further in your quest or your goals to be accomplished, okay? So if you go out boating's not going to build your future. It's not. It's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. You're going to have fun, but it's not going to build your future, okay? There are a lot of things that are very difficult to sacrifice. Time with family, you know, vacations possibly that were pre-planned, you know, various things, guys. And everybody has their own sacrifices, because what may be a sacrifice to someone else is completely stupid and insignificant to another. And that's the beautiful thing about us, is we are all very different and unique. But you have to understand, usually the things that you love doing the most probably don't, unless you're passionate about your job, and we got into that, get you to where you need to be on a level of success that you would like to be at, okay? So just know that that's what sacrifice is. It is required. It is an absolute prerequisite to becoming successful. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about discipline, okay? Discipline is not like bending your kid over and spanking them because they stole a cookie, all right? Discipline, when you're dealing with success, is kind of like the discipline of going to college, right? Nobody's holding your hand. You paid a tuition, you accepted responsibility to go and get an education. You need to show up on time, you need to do the work, you need to retain the work, you need to study the work, you need to take the exams, you need to get the degree, right? It's on you. You have to be disciplined mentally to make it happen. Now, here's the thing, you know, it doesn't really matter what you're doing in life. It just matters that if you have a goal, right? If you're pushing towards that goal and your buddies call you up, you know, we were just talking about sacrifice. Your buddies call you up, they're like, oh man, I'm back in town. It's been 3 years since I've been here. You know, I'm here for the weekend, man. Let's go out and get some beers. You know, there's not a lot of people that would be like, you know what, man, I got a goal and I haven't hit my goal yet. And so I'll tell you what, I'm going to work even harder because I'd love to see you, but I got to get this goal done before I can actually come out and do stuff. Because we're scared, right? We're scared that people are going to judge us. They're gonna call us names and you know, we're whatever. But if you don't have that discipline in here to do what you know you need to do, even when nobody else is looking, regardless of the circumstance or the surprise or the fun that could be attached to not having discipline and going out and doing those things, that is what is needed to become successful. Commitment, right? The scariest word in a lot of people's minds, especially when it comes to relationships. It kind of works the same way, guys. You know, a lot of times, especially in a relationship, if it's not working, people are just like, yeah, it's not working, or they go cheat, or they find some stupid reason, or whatever. We're not here to talk about relationships, but at the end of the day, becoming successful is a relationship between yourself, your goals, and the sacrifice and the discipline that you're willing to put towards achieving those goals, right? And the only way you're going to do that is if you're committed. And the only way typically you're going to be committed is if you're very passionate about what you're trying to do and what you are doing, okay? So the biggest thing I want to talk to you about with being committed is not quitting when it gets hard, right? Life is not easy. I'm sure you guys know that. Business is not easy. Anything worth any relevant significance in your life, you know, was not easy. Okay? But it was worth it. Success is the exact same way, and most people have absolutely no idea what success looks like. So the best way I can say, yeah, that's not true, because some people may not like this stuff. Materialism is not success. That's not even close to true. Okay, I just like cars. Success is feeling accomplished. It's an overwhelming sense of internal gratitude, pride, accomplishment. And there's a lot of learning involved along the way, but you can't understand success without first understanding failure, right? Failure, we've all been there. We've all been like, oh, this is the worst, and then something even shittier happens, and all of a sudden it's like, what could possibly go wrong? And then that goes wrong, and you reach to what a lot of people call the bottom of the barrel, right? Success is 100% that opposite. It's like hot and cold, and you don't know which is which without the other, correct? It's not any different. If you've experienced absolute gut-wrenching, beat down, horrible, terrifying failure, most of the time, people quit. They go to try something different for hopes of a better outcome. And the reality is you're not going to get a better outcome by changing what you're doing as far as a different goal or a different path. You're going to get where you want to go by changing this. By realizing that you're going to need to sacrifice things. You're going to need to stay committed, and you can't give up. It's like riding a bicycle. If you fall off and you quit, you're never going to learn to ride that bicycle. You'll be terrified of it. You have to understand that if this is meant to be, it's up to me, right? You have to go out and invest all of your time and your efforts and your energy until you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. All right, finally we get to consistency, right? So consistency is just doing and doing and doing and doing. And it's kind of like commitment in all reality, but at the same time, it's just not allowing too much change, okay? When you are moving forward, there's absolutely no reason why you should ever just like pump the brakes, stop, and go backwards, okay? Now that's gonna happen. It's going to happen, okay? You'll never just have to success. It's just not gonna happen. So don't even think about expecting that, okay? If you ever look or talk to anybody that has ever experienced any form of true, viable success, their ups and downs, I mean like backwards, circle, scribble, like where most people would have given up, they would have quit, they would have talked a bunch of crap. Consistency in moving forward, no matter which way. It doesn't matter which way your endeavors lead you. It doesn't matter what hand or cards you're dealt along the way. Some are going to be amazing, some of them are going to cash in, some of them are going to suck. And it's that persistence, it's that consistency to continue to do what you know you need to, right? Being disciplined. You know you need to do this. If you can stay consistent with it, you will always move forward. And if you can move forward, you're always getting there. You're always going to get there. Some slower than others, as we talked, right? Timeline. But as long as you have the same consistency and that same drive and that urge, I promise you're going to get to your end result. Purpose. You need a purpose in life. Recently, I did some work with some troubled teens, and I was talking to them, and I asked a lot of them, I said, where do you see yourself in 5 years? No clue. And it's not just children. It is everyone I've talked to since then. I'm curious. I ask them, hey, where do you see yourself in 5 years? No idea, man. Living the dream. We're stuck. As a society, we're stuck. We're not taught, or excuse me, maybe we are taught incorrectly. Because as a child, we dream, right? We have an imagination. Anything is possible. And as we get older, people start telling us things like, can't, won't. You don't deserve that. We don't make enough money. Only these types of people do this. We create our own limitations. The beautiful thing, if you have a purpose, if you have a reason, if you have a why, am I doing this? It sucks. It's so hard. I want to quit. This is brutal. I'm losing my friends. I'm not doing fun shit anymore. This sucks. But if you know why it sucks, then you're willing to accept the fact that it does suck, and you're still going to remain consistent and disciplined, and you're still going to sacrifice because you're committed to that purpose. And if you are passionate about the job that you do, and you mix in every one of those attributes, I can guarantee you, between 1 to 5 years tops, it took me 18 months. That was my life, that was my journey, that was my destination. You can do whatever you want to do, but you have to have those tips. You have to follow that guideline in whatever career field that you are passionate about. And if you do that, you will be a millionaire.